Okey. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Okey, kepada pelajar saya, welcome to my channel, Cikgu Yati channel. Okey, kamu dah cuti 5 hari kan? So kita akan mula start with the new chapter today. And the topic is about topic 4, cost volume profit analysis. So saya harap korang dah bersedia for the this class today, dan harap as usual stay safe dan jangan lupa social distance and wearing mask apabila kamu keluar ke mana-mana je kan. Okey, saya tak nak buang masa. Hopefully korang semua bangun pagi ya. Sebab kita kelas at 8 o'clock and hopefully that you are ready for my class. Okay, this is the question topic 4 relate to your assignment. Okay, assignment for topic 4. So tanpa membuang masa lagi, saya menjemput Ketua Kuliah ASIC, Saudara Irfan untuk membacakan doa. Dipersilakan, Irfan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma aftah alaina hikmataka wa anshur alaina min hazaini rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin ya rabbal alamin.
Gelap je yang muka awak punya dekat ni, Irfan. Memang ni. Tak apalah, tak kisahlah kan. Okay, now saya nak show the slideshow. Ni takut dia problem. Okay, tajuk ni actually is very easy. This is very easy topic ya. You just apply this topic untuk daily life, kehidupan yang biasa sebenarnya. Okay, now saya nak show my presentation. Actually presentation PowerPoint ni ada problem slideshow. Okay, nanti dulu ya. Nanti Irfan tuan tengokkan ya. Dua. Okay. So saya share screen. Sekejap. Saya share. Window application. Okay, sabar ya. Sabar, saya tengah mencari PowerPoint. Sebab PowerPoint ni sometimes bila share dia akan keluar dalam, bukan slideshow, tapi dalam bentuk PowerPoint. So, okay, this one dalam bentuk slideshow. Wait. Okay, this is slideshow. Okay, Irfan, dia gerak tak Irfan?
Gerak
Okay,
dekat learning
alright.
objective.
Okay, betul lah tu. Okay, this is topic 4 And topic 4 relate dengan cost volume profit. Wait. Okay, tajuk ni, nanti saya nak keluarkan the pointer, laser pointer. Okay, this is the learning objective that you should know for this topic. Okay, this one ada yang theory part and then ada the calculation part. So for the theory part, that one is for you to answer for your theory lah. That one is for UPS, and the calculation part, that one is for your assignment. Okay, number 1, you must know the CVP analysis. CVP analysis is the definition. What's the function? The relationship between C stand for cost, V volume, and P profit. Number 2, you have to follow the analysis. CVP analysis assumption. Andaian. Andaian itu kena betul. You have to follow. Sebab that one is the rules of CVP analysis. Okay, this one the definition CVP ni apa dalam bahasa Melayu? Cost, volume, profit. Cost, volume, untung. Profit ialah untung. Okay, margin of safety. Okay, now today we just focus for number 1, number 2 and number 3, CVP analysis. And maybe next week we'll focus for margin of safety and sensitivity analysis. Number 3, 4, 5, that one is the calculation. Number 1, 2 is more to theory type. Okay, this one, cost, volume, profit. So dalam bahasa Melayu, cost, volume, untung. Okay, if you look at this question, dia adalah planning tool to look at the relationship between cost, volume and profit. Maknanya, if you want to get more profit, you must minimize the cost and you have to maximize the volume. Volume ni lah unit jualan dia. Jualan. This one kita fokus pada jualan ya. Okay, CVP analysis is used to estimate how changes in sales, variable cost, fixed cost, volume will affect the profit. Okay, for topic 2, we have learned more detail about variable cost, fixed cost and mixed cost. But for this topic, variable cost and fixed cost, ya, mixed cost kita dah separate. So we just more focus to variable cost, fixed cost, sales price and volume. So that's why dia panggil cost, volume, profit analysis. Cost dalamnya ada variable cost, fixed cost, volume, it means the sales in unit. Profit, that one, how much the company will earn the profit when it relates to cost and volume of the sales. Volume to refer to the sales in unit or in RM lah. Okay, now how is CVP analysis is used? Okay, this one actually, kenapa we use this analysis? Okay, we have to find the break-even point. Break-even point dalam bahasa Melayu ialah titik pulang modal. That is the minimum volume required. That means the minimum volume of sales in unit in order to get break-even point. Break-even point is the situation there is no loss or no profit. Okay. Ni pun sama. This one volume. This one we have the volume required. You give the target profit and you must know what is the amount for sales in unit. Okay, this one you have to determine the selling price. Okay, given profit dia dah bagi, break even point dah bagi, and then you have to calculate the selling price. So, masih lagi the relationship between cost, volume and profit. Okay, the effect of discretionary expenditure. Okay, expenditure to relate to variable cost, fixed cost. Okay, this one changes in price, cost and volume tu dia ada kesan for CVP analysis. Okay, this is the assumption. Okay, this one is more to theory part. You must know assumption tu we have to follow this step or this statement in order to apply CVP analysis. So memang you have to follow. Okay, for example, number 1, unit sold equals to unit produce. Unit jualan mesti sama dengan unit pengeluaran. So that means dia tak ada beginning inventory and also tak ada ending inventory. Why? Because we must assume that unit jualan equals to unit produce. Okay, constant variable cost per unit. Yes, that is constant. The amount dia at a certain range, amount for variable cost per unit must constant. Kenapa? This is the assumption when you want to apply CVP analysis. Okay, number 3, constant total fixed cost. Okay, you are given the fixed cost. So whatever you calculate, the amount for total fixed cost and variable cost per unit must constant. And also the selling price mesti constant because we are applying CVP analysis. So this is the assumption that we have to follow in order to apply CVP analysis. Assumption that means andaian. Okay. Cost, volume, profit analysis. What is the meaning or the definition? So this one is the study of the effect of changes in cost and volume on a company's profit. So any changes in cost or any changes in volume will give an effect on the company's profit. So this one is for the future planning and also for the profit planning in the future. Okay, this topic in the future not incurred yet. This one is part of managerial accounting. Okay, this one, when you want to apply cost volume profit analysis, that is very easy for the company to set the selling price. So when you apply this analysis, the company can set the selling price in the future. Okay, determine the product mix. Produk ni lah campuran. Tapi this one is not in the syllabus. And maximize use of production facilities. Okay, maknanya kita akan maximum whatever the facilities in producing the product, we can maximize. For example, we can maximize the profit and minimize the cost. So yang paling penting biasanya when we apply for cost volume profit is to setting the selling price. Okay, now break even point. Break even point maknanya titik pulang modal. Okay, what is the situation? Okay, sebenarnya cost volume profit ni kita boleh apply in the daily kehidupan harian, life daily. Kalau kamu tengok kan, I give you the simple example. Kalau kamu tengok brother jual burger, dia jual burger kan, dia kalau dia nak jual, dia akan consider the payment for the employee dia, worker dia. Dia akan consider for the direct labor, dia consider about direct material, the burger, chicken burger or beef burger, and then dia akan consider the utilities that they have to pay. Utilities tu maybe dia guna air or guna telefon for order online. Okay, before dia calculate the profit, okay, this brother, dia akan kira the total sales less. Okay, total sales tu dia akan tolak minus for variable cost. Variable cost tu for the beef burger or chicken in dalam bentuk raw material, and dia akan tolak for the direct labor. That one we call variable cost. Lepas tu dia akan tolak any fixed cost. For example, dia akan pay for the rent of the kedai dia. Dia punya gerai lah kan. So after dia tolak variable cost, tolak fixed cost, and then baru dia dapat profit. But there is a situation, brother ni jual, total revenue equals to total cost. Dia dah tolak, tak ada revenue, tak ada profit. Kenapa? That one is break even point. Maknanya total revenue dia dapat, sales equals to the total cost. Total revenue equals to total cost. Or fixed cost sama dengan contribution margin. Dia dapat sales, tolak variable cost for direct labor, tolak for direct material, and then they got the amount. That amount yang dia dapat in terms of profit, tapi we call margin, equals to fixed cost. Maknanya dia have to pay the rent 300, and at the same time profit tolak variable cost tadi equals to 300. So that one we call break even point. Okay, you must remember this one. Total revenue equals to total cost. This is one point. And another one, fixed cost equals to contribution margin. What is the meaning of contribution margin? Okay, sebenarnya contribution dia ialah sale, jualan that you get for that time, tolak variable cost. Variable cost tu, for example, just I give you the example, the beef and chicken for making the burger, whatever lah kan. That one normal tu, and you have to pay the direct labor. Variable cost ni pun also include indirect material. Okay, that is important point. The important point that you must know about break-even point. Okay. Okay, this one, to determine how many units of its product must a firm sell to break even point. Okay, for example, just now the brother tu, dia nak jual burger every day. Let's say dia want to sell the burger. Dia ada the target. Ni memang kehidupan harian dia jual burger, dia ada target minimum untuk dapat Maknanya tak rugi, tak untung, tak rugi. Katalah 300 is the minimum selling dia have to achieve. But if dia jual one day hujan and then dia jual only 200 for the burger, dia akan loss. But if the brother tu sell more than 300, that means dia akan earn the profit. So that one you can apply break even, the CVP analysis in your life. We have the minimum target to sell the product. So after you sell the minimum target, then you will not loss and you will not earn profit. But if you want to earn profit, you must sell more product. Itulah actually you can apply in your daily life. Okay, there are 3 methods of calculating CVP analysis. Okay, the first one, kita akan fokus for equation method. Okay, this one normally kita dah learn for SEM 1. And the second one, contribution margin method. And the third one, graph method. So this is the 3 method when you want to applying cost, volume, profit analysis. Okay, number 1. Okay, this is the CVP income statement. Okay, before you go further to understand the cost, volume, profit analysis, you must know the income statement. This is for internal use. It is quite different from income statement for external use. So this one for cost, volume, profit only analysis. Yeah? Okay, you can see that it can classify cost and expenses as fixed or variable. Okay, before that saya ada ajar you variable tu direct material, direct labor. Kan? Tapi now variable tu is quite open. Dia boleh jadi indirect material, indirect labor, and dia boleh jadi variable manufacturing overhead, and dia boleh jadi variable sales and admin. Sebab you have to divide only 2 costs, either variable or fixed. Depends on the situation. So report contribution margin. So what is the meaning of contribution margin? Sales deduct variable cost. Just now I have give you example when the just now siapa the seller sales burger, so dia nak tahu the profit, you have to calculate sales deduct variable cost. That means they have to deduct for direct material, direct labor, indirect material, indirect net, dia akan dapat contribution margin. Tapi kalau if you prepare for income statement for external user, contribution ni margin dia tak ada, tapi kita dapat gross profit. But this one, when you apply for CVP income statement, we get contribution margin. Tapi for the net profit is the same, either internal or external user under this income statement. Okay, this is the example for income statement under CVP analysis. So, I give you an example just now kan, the brother tu when selling, they have to deduct for variable cost, including direct material, direct labor, indirect material, variable, MO, variable, sales and admin, and then they get contribution margin. So this one, margin tu macam profit juga lah. But we must deduct fixed cost. So when you deduct fixed cost, then baru dapat net profit. But kalau contribution margin equals to fixed cost 320,000, net profit is 0. That one is the situation where break even point incurred. Maknanya tak untung tak rugi. Dia ada minimum sale. So kalau nak dapat untung, make sure contribution margin must bigger than fixed cost. Then you get net profit. So this is the example for income statement when you use cost volume profit analysis. Okay. Okay, when you want to use the equation method, this is we call equation method. Profit. So I give you the example just now, selling the burger, sales less variable cost less fixed cost. So when you expand the formula, USD represent for sales in unit, P represent for selling price per unit, less unit sales times variable cost per unit. This one represent for variable cost less fixed cost. So then you get profit. Okay. So how many items that you have to identify in the question? Okay, pertama, variable cost per unit. Number one, you must know. You must find out the variable cost per unit in the question. Number two, you must find out or identify fixed cost. Three, sales in unit. And the last one, sales price per unit. So there are 4 items in this formula. So termasuk profit ada 5 item in this formula. So yang paling basic one ialah sale less variable cost less fixed cost and then you get profit. So this one is equation method. Okay, I give you one example using equation method. Okay, Ku Cantik manufactures and sells mascara for sensitive eye. Mascara ni satu produk kecantikan lah. Kalau girls dia tahulah what is mascara, meletak mata cantik bagai kan. Okay, currently the mascara unit are sold at RM4. Okay, so you must identify the selling price. So this one is selling price. So this is the item in the question. You must identify. Number one, selling price is given RM4. Number two, fixed costs are given 600. Okay, this one is fixed cost. And the next one, variable costs are 2 RM2.5 ataupun RM2.50 per unit. So from the question, the item given are selling price per unit, variable cost per unit, and fixed cost. So you are required to calculate break-even point. Okay, you must know at this point there is no loss or no profit. So you have to calculate unit that you have to be sold in unit and dalam sales, the total sale for break-even point. So break-even point ni you can calculate under units and also under sales in RM. Number two, you are required to calculate given net profit is if 500, you have to calculate net profit when unit sold is 500. So you have to calculate net profit using that method, equation method. And the last one, you have to calculate unit that must be sold when you want to earn the profit RM300. So these 3 questions you have to apply using equation method. Okay, this is the answer. Okay, ingat ya. For that point, during the break-even point, you must know total cost equals to total revenue and profit is 0. So kita apply that formula. Sales equals to fixed cost plus variable cost. This one ya. Total revenue equals to total cost. So you just substitute the amount in the formula because you want to calculate unit. So given fixed cost is 600 in the question and variable cost 2.5 or RM2.50 for variable cost given in the question and the selling price RM4. per unit. So you just substitute the amount X represent for sales in unit ataupun break even point in unit. This is the minimum point that you have to sell the product in order you get no loss or no profit. So you get 400. So sales in unit ataupun kita boleh panggil break even point in unit is 400 unit. So this is the minimum sale that you have to sell in order you get no profit and no loss. Okay, now you have to calculate break even point. Titik pulang modal dalam RM or break even point in sales. So kita ambil the unit 400 unit multiplied by selling price per unit. So this is the formula. So we just substitute in the formula, then break even point in RM ialah 1600. So we are using the equation method. The equation method is total revenue equal to total cost. Before tadi saya tunjukkan sales profit equal to total revenue tolak cost. But we must know the break even point. Break even point profit is 0. Now, so to substitute the amount, we have to calculate net profit. Yang tadi apa? Yang tadi break even point. We have to calculate the unit sold. Tapi kita now given 500 unit. Kalau kamu nampak tadi, kalau unit sold for break even point 400. Now kita jual more than the minimum unit. Okay, kita jual 500 unit. That one, it means that the company will earn the profit. So when you want to calculate the profit, you just substitute the item. This one represent for selling price multiplied by 500 units minus cost. Variable cost you expand variable cost per unit times 500 unit. Tapi fixed cost dia tak boleh expand ya. Because fixed cost dia tetap for monthly 600. And then you substitute the amounts, you simplify the amount after you substitute for selling price, for variable cost per unit, for unit sold, then you get profit 150 ringgit. So you can see that when you sell more units of product, then you earn more profit. Okay, let's say that you want to earn more profit. Just now you earn 150 with 500 units. Okay, you can see that. So there are the changes. So that means when the changes in units, the profit increase. Now you have to calculate the units when the profit is 100. 300. Just now 150. Now you want to earn. You have the target profit. You want to earn more profit. RM 300. So you just substitute the amount, item, selling price times unit sold, deduct the variable cost per unit given in the question. X represent for unit. So that one is unknown figure. We have to calculate. Less fixed cost. So you simplify the equation and X equals to X represent for unit that must be sold is 600 units. So you can see the different question number 2. 500 units, you will earn only 150 ringgit for the profit. But when you sell 600 units, then your profit will greater than previous one. You get 300. So you must know how to use the equation. So the simple equation ialah profit equal to sale minus variable cost minus fixed cost. Now we want to use the second method. This method we call contribution margin. Bahasa Melayu dia margin sumbangan. Okay, contribution margin ni dia lebih fokus more to total sale tolak total variable cost. So saya bagi example just now, the man that want to sell the burger kan, dia dapat total sale, dia cuma tolak dia beef and chicken, direct material and tolak for direct labor or any variable cost, saya dapat contribution margin. So contribution margin ni dia belum tolak the fixed cost. Okay, this one contribution margin, sale tolak variable cost. You got contribution margin dalam RM. And this one unit contribution margin, sales per unit. Actually sales per unit tolak variable cost per unit. This one dia tertinggal pula. Sales per unit tolak variable cost per unit. Then you got unit contribution margin. Okay, this one is the correct one. Okay, so at the break-even point, just I give you break-even point, there is a situation di mana contribution margin, total sale revenue, tolak variable cost. And at this situation, contribution margin equal to fixed cost. So that means the company will not earn the profit or profit is zero. This is the situation, contribution margin equals to total fixed cost. Contribution margin ni dia kena tinggi daripada fixed cost. Kenapa? Because they want to cover the fixed cost. Kalau contribution margin ni can cover the fixed cost, baru the company will earn the profit. But if the company get the contribution equals to total fixed cost, no profit. Tapi kalau this one is bigger than fixed cost, then the company will earn profit. Okay, this is the formula for contribution margin method. So this is the second method you want to apply for cost volume profit. Okay, biasanya this is quite easy for you because you have to substitute this item in the formula. So this is the formula. Okay, if you want to find break-even point unit, you know that fixed cost divided, this is the formula, divided by contribution margin per unit. What is the formula for contribution margin per unit? Sales price per unit deduct variable cost per unit. Okay, you must identify the sales price per unit. Okay, kat bawah ni tengok, this one. Variable cost per unit in order to calculate contribution margin per unit. And in the question, you must identify fixed cost. Kenapa fixed cost? Because you want to know whether contribution margin can cover the fixed cost or not. But in this situation, fixed cost equals to contribution margin. And also sales in unit. Dekat sini sales in unit. But now we want to calculate sales in unit. So this is the situation. This is the formula for break-even point in unit. Okay, this is the situation when you want to calculate sales in unit and you have the target profit. Yang tadi profit is zero. But you must sell, you want to increase your profit, then you have to find out sales in unit. Ada different lah ya. Tadi saya bagi contoh kan, break-even point unit dia 400. Tapi kalau dia jual more than 400, dia ada profit dia. Okay, in this situation, yang differentnya, dia ada target profit compared to the break-even point. Break-even point is zero. So the item that you must know, you must identify ialah selling price per unit in this question, in this formula. Variable cost per unit, okay, represent variable cost per unit. Fixed cost, okay, you must substitute the amount for fixed cost. Sales in unit, okay, if you want to calculate sales in unit, so you put here sales in unit and target profit. So katalah dia bagi target profit, so the missing figure sales in unit. If the question give you sales in unit, maknanya you have to find target profit. Normally, target profit and sales in unit ni dia missing figure. Okay, now, based on the first question just now kita bagi kan, kita apply contribution margin method. Just now we apply equation method. So we just substitute the item in the question. So in the question given, selling price ialah RM4 less variable cost per unit RM2.5 ataupun RM2.50, and then you get contribution margin per unit RM1.50. So you want to calculate break-even point using contribution margin. So what is the formula? Fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit. So we just substitute the amount 600 represent for fixed cost divided by RM1.50. Then you got 400 units. It means that the company must sell minimum for 400 units because at this point no profit is earned and no loss incurred. So minimum sales. So what is the break even point in RM atau in total sales? 400 unit times selling price per unit. So this is the total sale that the company should make in order to break even point, no loss and no profit is earned. Sama je. Just now we are using equation, now we are using contribution margin method. And the second one, just now 400, right? 400 is the minimum sales the company should make. Now the company want to sell 500 units more than break-even point. So it means that the company will earn profit. So we have to calculate the profit. What is the formula? This is the formula. Sales in unit equals to fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin per unit. So you just substitute the amount 500 represent for units sold to be sold, fixed cost 600 and the target profit. You have to calculate the target profit. Target profit, that's the profit that you will earn when you increase your sales unit. Before that, you just sell 400 units. Now you want to sell 500 units. So the profit is, when you simplify the formula, you get the profit RM 150. So you can see, the more the company sell the product, the more profit that the company will earn. Okay, the next one, using contribution margin. So now dia punya target is 300. So before that, the target profit only 150. Now they want to increase the target profit to RM 300. So that means the sales in unit also will increase. So we substitute the formula, the item in the formula fixed cost. So this is the formula, sale equal to fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin per unit. So you just substitute the item in the formula and you simplify the formula, then you get sales unit is 600 unit. Before that 500 units, we just earn RM 150. If you sell 600 units, that means you will earn more profit. That is RM 300 ringgit. Okay, that one we are using contribution margin method. The answer is still the same, whether you apply equation method or contribution margin method. Which one is easier? It's up to you. But if you use this formula, it's quite easy because you just substitute the amount in the formula. After that, you just simplify the formula or the equation and you will get the answer. Okay, just now we have calculated the break-even point. You get the break-even point in unit is 400 units. Okay, this one, total cost, we have done in previous chapter, mixed cost. Total cost equals to fixed cost plus variable cost. So we must start with fixed cost, 600, RM 600. So we must start with 600 ringgit. Then you got total cost. So total cost equals to fixed cost plus variable cost. So this one is fixed cost and this one is variable cost. And for total revenue, we can use the formula accounting equation just now. When you increase the level of sale, your total revenue will increase. And we must start from zero. So break-even point, just now we have calculated using accounting equation method, and also we use contribution margin method. This is the minimum sales, 400 unit. You have to sell in order to get break-even point. And when you substitute this amount in the formula to calculate total sales, unit 400 unit times the selling price, then you got the sales for break-even point. Okay, this one represent cost and revenue. Cost slash revenue. Okay, at this point, I just want to give you the brief explanation. At this point, break-even point, you will earn no profit and you will not get loss. So total cost equals to total revenue. Okay, this is the situation. And for this area, loss area, you can shade this area. This area represents loss. How do you know that that one is loss area? Okay, you can see this graph. When you plot the graph, you find out that total cost is greater than total revenue. This when you plot the graph, this one represent for total revenue, this one represent the total cost. So you can see that the total cost is greater than total revenue. So the company will earn, no, not earn, ya, will get loss. Ataupun sometimes dia panggil will suffer loss. Suffer, bukan earn. Okay, this one, in this situation, this area we call profit area. You can find that total revenue is this line. When you plot the graph, total revenue is bigger than the total cost. So you earn profit. And at this situation, total revenue equals to total cost. And for this profit area, total cost is greater than total revenue. Profit, total revenue is bigger than total cost. So you must know how to explain explain the graph function. This is the third method using graphic approach ataupun using graph method. Okay. So you must plot total revenue, total cost, fixed cost, units of sales, then units in break-even point, break-even point in RM, and you must start with fixed cost for total cost. This one, vertical, represent for cost and revenue. Okay, so you have finished for three methods. The first one, accounting equation method, bukan accounting, equation method. Number two, contribution margin method. And number three, graphic method. So now we go to the next example. So if you understand for that method, so that means you really understand how to use cost, volume, profit analysis. Either you want to use equation, contribution method, or graph. But I prefer to use contribution margin method. Okay, you are given the question. Okay, you look at this question. Number one, selling price given variable cost per unit. Okay, this one for manufacturing overhead atau kita sebut variable manufacturing overhead 11. Dan this one variable selling expenses 1 ringgit. So this one classified as variable cost per unit. So the total variable cost per unit is 12. And fixed cost represent for selling expenses and admin, and then you have to add for fixed cost 48,000. So when you look at this question, you can find out that selling price is 20 ringgit, variable cost per unit is 12 ringgit, and fixed cost is 48,000 ringgit. So can you calculate break-even point in units? So at break-even point, the profit is 0. And the second one, calculate sales in unit and RM when you want to earn profit 60,000 ringgit. RM 60,000. So when you calculate in the formula, you just substitute 48,000 given in the question you add just now divided by contribution margin per unit 20 ringgit represent for selling price. This one represent for variable cost per unit. And then when you substitute in the formula, I am using contribution margin method. You also can use equation method. So when you substitute the amount, the item in the formula, and you simplify the formula, then you can see the minimum sales that you have to sell is 6,000 units. So no profit or no loss at this point. So you have to calculate break-even point in total sale. 6,000 units times or multiply by selling price per unit, then the total sales at break-even point is 120,000 ringgit. So this one is break-even point. No loss, no profit. Minimum sales is 6,000 units. The next one, if you want to earn 60,000 ringgit profit, what is sales in unit? So you substitute the amount 60,000, the target profit, because you want to calculate sales in unit. And selling price, you still have to use the same selling price, the same variable cost, the same fixed cost, because we have to follow the assumption of cost volume profit analysis. And you simplify the formula or the equation, then you get sales in unit is 13,500 units. Okay, you can see that. The more you sell the product, the more profitable for the company. And the last one, this is the last one, you have to apply using graphic method. Just now we calculate already kan, the break-even point. Okay, this is okay, this is the break-even point. Just now the second example, 6,000 unit and in unit, and this one is the break-even point, the total sale or in RM, and this is the minimum that total cost must include the fixed cost. Just now we have calculate for fixed cost, and then you have to plot for total cost, and this is the total revenue. You can calculate the more you sell the product, the more profit that the company will earn, and this is the profit area. Because total revenue is bigger than total cost, you can see the total revenue line is bigger than total cost, and this is the loss area. You can find out that the total cost is bigger than the total revenue when you plot the graph. So this is loss area. So this one is the point, no profit and no loss. Ataupun the company will not earn any profit and will not suffer any loss. Okay, that's all for today. Irfan, are you? Irfan ada. Okay, habis just now. So hopefully that you can understand for this topic. Okay. Okay, saya nak tengok the message. Okay, the message from, dia tunjukkan siapa yang rajin buat message ni kan. Baru lepas cuti kan. So saya baca. Aziz. Assalamualaikum cikgu. Okay, waalaikumsalam Aziz. Okay. Siapa yang buat ni untung sebab saya baca satu persatu. And another one, Sulaika. Good morning cikgu. Okay, good morning. Adriana. Assalamualaikum cikgu. Okay, waalaikumsalam. Okay, this one. Hadira. Saya rasa macam ramai pelajar A61. Zulaika A6P. Adriana A6P2. Hadira A6P3. Selamat pagi puan. Saya tengok siapa yang ramai kan. Okay, selamat pagi. Ni. Ni saya punya ex-student ya. Syahir Asfa bin Hairul Azdi ni my student ya. Saya introduce dia, my student. Dia ambil apa ni? Dia belajar accounting course dekat UPM. Selamat pagi Cikgu Yati. Ya, selamat pagi Syahir. Belajar rajin-rajin ya. This is the course yang susah kan, accounting course. So hopefully pelajar-pelajar yang lain kalau nak ambil course accounting, study ya. So selamat pagi Syahir, my ex-student. Ni sesi tahun 2019-2020. Baru je yang baru-baru ni. Dia orang ni study online je. Tak boleh lagi kan. Okay. Nurul Nadila. Okay, Nadila. Assalamualaikum cikgu. Waalaikumsalam. Okay. Habis ya. Jadi saya harap you can get the benefit for the class today and hopefully you understand for this topic. Dan topik ni actually we apply for every day. Bila kita berniaga je kita kira sales. Kita kira sales, kita tolak the variable cost. Tolak bahan mentah yang kita beli, tolak ada pembayaran kepada tukang masak ke. Lepas tu kita kena tolak the payment for monthly payment, fixed cost. Then baru kita tahu that one is profit. Okay, so saya rasa setakat ini, so saya jemput Irfan baca doa penutup. Silakan Irfan. Irfan? Buka mic. Dapat buka mic tak Irfan? Okay, baca doa penutup.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr. Innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa 'amilus solihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Sadaqallahul azim.
Dah cuti 5 hari, dah lupa dah Irfan. Okay, itu saja. Kita jumpa lagi next time. Okay, bye semua.